Hello everyone, hope everyone is doing well today. Welcome to the show. I'm here to go through a song from the McBroom Sisters album, which I was lucky enough to mix. The song is called Gods and Lovers. It's by Durga McBroom and Carin. Carin, of course, and Durga, both famously were with Pink Floyd, sort of 86, 87 through till 94. And it was during this time they wrote this song together, and it's been recently recorded and put on the McBroom Sisters album, Black Floyd. And I'm going to break down the mix and show you all the different bits that are in the song. But if I just go over to this scene, I will mute my microphone and I'll just play the song from start to finish. It's the opening track of the album. It's one of my favourites on the album. So I hope that you all enjoy it. Here goes.
What is true love? How does it feel? How can you tell what's false and what is real? Oh, is true love a painful test? Or is true love truly effortless? Does it require sacrifice? Or is it as easy as breathing? Must you surrender? Or simply give up to believing in the simple truth of love. What is true love? Gods and lovers wanna lie. Gods and lovers want it all. Give them all the love you got. Though they'll try the choice is yours. What is true faith? Faith in the unknown. To believe unshaken in the face of what you've shown. Oh, is faith a blessed state of grace? Or simply putting your hands over your face? Is it blind stupidity? Strength beyond belief, with or will to weep and truth, or simply find relief in the safe embrace of faith. What is true faith? Gods and lovers wanna lie. Gods and lovers want it all. God should want applaud. Our faith believed it must be right, that only they can lead you to the light. It's the sweet embrace of faith. That's the naked face of God. The choice is yours. Gods and lovers, one Lord. Gods and lovers, want it all. Give them all the love you got. Though they try to rule ya, don't let them fool ya, 'cause the choice is yours. One Lord. Gods and lovers, want it all. Give them all the love you got. Though they try to rule ya, don't let them fool ya, because the choice is yours. Because the choice is yours. Gods and lovers, because the choice is yours. Because the choice is yours. Choice is yours.
And this is the bit where it's fading out. And there's still a whole load of stuff that happens after it. Which no one ever got to hear. Okay. So that's the song. A few hellos before I go through some of the mix. Hello to Sam. Hello to Phil. I'm sorry I can't pronounce that name there, but the translation says, good afternoon, very happy to listen, greetings from Ukraine. So hello to you in the Ukraine, not the Ukraine, sorry, my mistake there. Cool to have some international viewers of the show. So yeah, this song's actually quite simple. We've got some drums, obviously. What I did is I tempo mapped them because I wanted certain effects that were going to be in, that had to go with the drums. And this drum track's quite loose. I was thinking about sort of tightening it up a tiny bit, but to be honest, it just had such a great feel that I didn't want to ruin it by aligning every beat to some kind of bar line or beat line. So have a listen through to these drums, and I'll go through what each of the tracks. I've only got a bass drum, snare drum, hi-hat, 3 toms and 2 overheads. There's no under snare mic or room mics or anything like that. It's got this pulse underneath it. So it's quite simple, as you can see. But then it starts getting into some cool tom work. But then later on in the song it gets a lot more chaotic, so if I fast forward to here. here, again, it gets even more chaotic. You get a lot more. So it's simple, nothing huge going on there. It's a take played through. I think there was a problem here with one of the mics crackling or something, so I had to cut that out. So as ever with my mixes, all the close stuff, the bass drum, the snare drum, hi-hat, toms, the 3 toms, they all get sent to a group, if I move this out of the way, up here, called close drums. Which I've got the an SSL comp, a Waves SSL comp over the top of. On each of these channels, I've got a bass drum here, which I've got Q10 EQ on that. Listen to that. That's seriously mid-scooped. Yeah, it was quite flappy without that. And then I've got the Trans X plug-in, getting the transients out, getting it nice and clicky. Obviously one clip there, but I didn't grab that. And then I've got an SSL channel running on it, which again just makes it sound really solid. And I've got one of these one knob louder things, but I don't think it's doing anything. I think I just wanted to turn it up in a moment. And snare drum, I've got an EQ, Trans X plug-in, getting the transients out again, and an SSL channel plug-in. The hi-hat, I've got, what did I use on that? Oh, just an EQ, a little bit of EQ on the hi-hat. The toms have all got an EQ, an expander, and an SSL comp on them. I think all 3 toms are the same. The expander settings and EQ will be slightly different across those 3. So the floor tom there will probably be a bit different to the first tom. But, you know, some similarities. And then we've got the overheads, which get grouped there to an overheads group, where I've got an EQ. I'm running the in-phase plugin, which basically allows me to get the overheads in phase with the snare drum and you know, other parts of the kit, I suppose. I have a whole video explaining that. It really tightens up the sound. So when you hit the snare drum and it gets picked up by the microphone that's close to the snare drum, obviously that sound's immediate, and then by the time the sound's gone from the snare to the overheads, the sound comes in a lot later. It might be a lot later or a little bit later, but it might be 2 milliseconds, it might be 5 milliseconds, it depends where your overheads are. And that can cause all sorts of phase issues. So I like to start from a position of having them bang in phase and bang in time, and then if I want to move them out to try and create some space, then I will. But on this I didn't. They're absolutely bang in there. And then I've got another SSL comp over the top of those overheads. All of those, the close drums and the overheads, get sent via sends here, as you can see, to the trash drums group, which has an EQ, which I'm not using over it, and CLA2A. It's the emulator of the the classic LA2A compressor, and I've got that pretty heavily compressing, so if I play that, so that's pretty trashy, and that's just mixed in a little bit underneath. So if I was to mute that, you can hear that's without the trash drums. And with it, it's just adding a little bit more warmth, a little bit more crack and punch to some of the some of the close drums. So the close drums, the overheads also get sent to that, and then all of these three go to all drums, so I can have all my drums on one fader. And what have I got on this? I've got tiny bit of EQ on all the drums, another Ssl compressor, probably being a little bit harsh, and a limiter just in case, but that's more just to pick up the odd peak that I don't want to get. So that's the drums. On the bass, I have a bass sub channel and a bass amped model, amped channel, and the amped channel is running clearly some sort of Fender Twin simulator on using Amplitude 4, which is an absolutely fantastic plug-in for emulating all different guitar amps. So yeah, let's have a listen through to the bass. I'll play the sub of the bass. If you're listening on a phone, you probably won't be hearing that much. And here's the amped version. I've got a chorus over it and one of their tube compressors, or a simulation of a tube compressor. And then every now and again a tremolo gets put in on it. I've got this tremolo here, so which comes in at certain points, so together with the sub bass. So it gives it this kind of slightly weird pulsy sound, and I think I wanted the tremolo to be bang in time with the drums, which is why I tempo mapped it up there. So if I just play all the drums and the bass together, we can have a listen through to some of that. Of course, everything other than the drums all gets grouped to a music group here, which I can turn up and down. So if I'm losing the drums at any point, I can just turn down all the music, and it'll sound pretty nice. So let's have a listen through to the drums and the bass together for a bit. I was trying to jump around, but without the rest of the music in, it's hard to tell where you are. And yeah, I was just trying to give you a different feel of different sections. But yeah, so I quite like that sound. It's a unique sound. We've got a nice, solid, clean sub, but then the top is pretty sort of skanky and small sounding and odd sounding. I think that really helps. So on to the next thing. I've got two acoustic guitars here that were played by Fernando. And they're panned dead left and right. And then pretty similar to the drums, I've got both of these going to the Acoustic 1 group. Where I've got that's an EQ there for it, and an SSL compressor across the acoustic, and then all of that group there also gets sent to the Acoustic 2 group, which has a pretty heavily compressed CLA 2A, and then I mix that in underneath in parallel with the other acoustic group there. So if I just play the original acoustics, they're like that. and then I kind of got a parallel compressed acoustic. So with the bass, and then I added in some electric guitars, just some padding on the choruses. Which has got some EQ, bit of weird EQ curve going on there. I've got the H delay stereo. That was recorded with a 57 and a condenser using my Super Pro amp, so I'm not using any amps in here. And I've got the 2A. I love putting the 2A after delays and reverbs and stuff, because it just crunches in the reverbs and delays in with the sound and makes it sort of smooth but in a really cool way. So yeah, so with that little bit of padded guitar, let me again put in the drums and the bass. The temptation is to turn myself up, but I've got to remember this isn't a kind of rock album. You're all right, right? Jeez, come past.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds great.
Cool. Right, so and then cool. I'm right in the middle of something. And then there's the pad. So I've got a pad from Dave Kersner here. Let me try and whack this up. That was interesting. I'm not going to play much more of that. A lot of it's held chords, as you can hear. But it's just kind of filling out a bit of background sound there. And then I've got an organ from him, which is much more exciting. So that's that, and then we're going to get on to John Carin's bits that he played on the song. So let's not start with his bass loop. Let's start with his piano, because that's his main thing. So yeah, it's a piano with strings in the background. And on this, I just used the Ssl compressor. He'd played to a much more, what shall I say, a much more timed version. I think he got the drums and he timed them all up so that they were banged to the click. And then he played all his parts to that. And then when I decided, excuse me, when I decided I didn't want to bang them exactly in with the click. I wanted it to have a little bit more kind of movement. I had to move a few of his chords back to the original timing because he played them 2 in time, if you know what I mean. So that's these edits here. But I've got this here. So at the end, there's a lot more. So there's also a synth that he gave here, which is really nice. Which kind of goes with the acoustic. What else have I got in there with? And then I've got this bass loop, which is actually something that John sent over that I think he chopped out from the bass stem that was sent to him from Fernando's bass playing. It was Fernando that played bass on it as well. So it had this kind of tremolo. And he chopped that out and turned it into a loop. Which sounded nice. I've got this bass synth here. And also a pad. Which comes in just before the outro, so you can hear that. Give them all the love you got. Though they try to rule ya, don't let them fool ya. Because the choice is yours. Then you hear that bass loop come in. Again, the synth just adding underneath. So the final thing in the kind of the instruments before we get onto the voice is the bells. Go on, Lorelei, quick, before I start on the bells. Which Durga played and sent to me. Grace of faith, that's the naked face of God. The choice is... Which I put some stereo delay on. A little bit of EQ. Took a lot of the bottom end out of them to make them kind of float a bit. And then some reverb. There wasn't a huge amount done to those other than that. Oh, hang on, I know what I did do. Yeah, I delayed the right-hand side by 20 milliseconds just to kind of widen them out a bit. And then it's onto the vocals. We got Durga's lead vocal here, which sounded fantastic. It was comped by someone else, so I got a stereo file, but it was dry. If I take all the plugins off it. What is true love? How does it feel? How can you tell what's false and what is real? So on that, I've got some EQ, I've got some compression, I've got a tuner plugin that's actually doing nothing. I know it's doing nothing. It was when I was trying to double it. Sometimes with a lead vocal, if I haven't got a double at certain points, I'll make a copy of it and put tuners on it. Maybe 2 copies of it and pan them left and right and put tuners on them that kind of artificially bring them more in tune, so it makes them sound like doubles. And I remember I used this, I tried to do that with this and then didn't end up using them. In fact, all the vocals have got tuner plugins on that I ended up not using for doubling purposes. But as you can tell, if I remove that, because it's not actually doing anything. What is true love? How does it feel? How can you tell what's false and what is real? As you can tell, there's no difference at all on that. I don't want anyone to watch this video and think that I'm running auto tuners over vocals. But yeah, that was on there for doubling purposes, and then I've got this delay here, which comes in and out from time to time. This is automated to come in and out in certain places. I think over here. So that's this delay here. And then I've got the nice model here of the 1176, which. Though they'll try to rule you, don't let them fool. And I've got that after that delay effect there, so you can really hear all the delays swelling into the vocal because they're compressed together. And then I've got another delay after that, which is just more like a general delay that just goes over the whole vocal. Everything, or simply give up to believing in the simple truth of love. And then I've got a plate reverb. It's got a sort of almost a 3-second time, but I've got loads of pre-delay on it, so I'm trying to make it sound like the reverb's really far away from the vocal. So in the mix, that sounds like this. What is true love? How does it feel? How can you tell what's false and what is real? Oh, is true love a painful test? Or is true love truly effortless? Does it require sacrifice? Or is it as easy as breathing? Must you surrender? So there we go. That's the lead vocal there, and then we've got these backing vocals, which I've got all grouped together on a backing vocals group. Individually, they haven't got anything on them at all, other than where I tried to double things up with tuners, and I've got a gate as well to chop out some background noise. But none of the tuners are actually on, and then they all go to this backing vocal group where I've got a very interesting EQ. I don't know quite how I managed to arrive at that, but it sounded good. Sometimes I look back at the EQ curves and think, what was I on? But then if I turn it off, it sounds awful. So clearly it was what was needed. And then I got the Ssl Bus Compressor over it. So there's a bit of a double there. Bit of delay on it, bit of reverb, and I've got less pre-delay on this because I want to. It's a thing about if you imagine you're in a space, right, and you want the vocalist to be there, and the back wall is far away, so that means the pre-delay, when you get the reverb's going to be coming back and mixing with the sound of the vocal a lot later. Whereas the backing vocals, if the backing vocals, the singers were physically a bit further back, there'd be less pre-delay, because by the time you get their vocals and by the time you get the reverb off of a sort of a back wall or something, they're going to come, the reverb and the vocals are going to come more in time. So this is a good example of where I've tried to create a certain space using certain pre-delays in reverbs. So with this one here, I've got a shorter reverb time and a shorter pre-delay. And on the lead vocal, I've got a longer reverb time and a longer pre-delay. So the idea being is that the lead vocal actually sounds closer because of the pre-delay, and then the backing vocals here sound a little bit further away. And it works nicely. I should do a video sometime about my ideas in creating certain 3D space using certain tricks with reverbs and delays and panning and whatever, but we'll get into that in another video. But yeah, I've clearly done this here with the backing vocals, and there's a load of different parts on here. You've got all the And you can really hear it there, even though I've got that delay over her vocals there. You can really hear the how the lead vocal seems quite there, and then the reverb's off in the background, and then the backing vocals seem further away, but the reverb's a lot nearer, and it's creating this space between the two. Maybe I'm inventing it in my head, but to me it sounds like that.
Lovers wanna lie. Guys and lovers want it all. Give them all the love you got. Though they'll try to rule you, don't let them fool you, 'cause the choice is yours.
And that's it. There's not a lot more to it than that. It's just, you know, good playing, good takes, not being too strict as well. One thing I like about this is the feel is nice and loose and chilled out. It's not super quantized or anything, and I think that adds to this song really well, because it's got that kind of folky Joni Mitchell type. So I think it's Joni Mitchell. Might be getting that wrong, but or Janis Joplin. I can't remember. She was talking about it on the launch party video. Who it was that influenced it, but it's got that kind of folky feel to it. So yeah, having it too tight, I think would lose the feel somewhat. So I'm going to play the song again. Now I've done the whole breakdown of it, I'm going to play it again from start to finish. Mute my microphone, and yeah, I think that's enough for this video. So here we go.
What is true love? How does it feel? How can you tell what's false and what is real? Oh, is true love a painful test? Or is true love truly effortless? Does it require sacrifice? Or is it as easy as breathing? Must you surrender everything? Or simply give up to believing in the simple truth of love? What is true love? Gods and lovers wanna lie. Gods and lovers want it all. Give them all the love you got. Though they'll try to rule you, don't let them fool you, 'cause the choice is yours. What is true faith? Faith in the unknown. To believe unshaken in the face of what you've shown. Oh, is faith a blessed state of grace? Or simply putting your hands over your face? Is it blind stupidity or strength beyond belief? With or will to weep in truth, or simply find relief in the safe embrace of faith? What is true faith? you forget that such joy is of your own manufacture. Who is the Lord? Which one is God? Which path is right and which God should want to applaud? Our faith believe it must be right, that only they can lead you to the light. You have love and faith as well, perhaps it matters not what face our gods and lovers were, if we've chosen what we've got. That's the simple truth of love, that's the sweet embrace of faith, that's the naked face of God. The choice is yours. Gods and lovers, one Lord. Gods and lovers, want it all. Give them all the love you got. Though they'll try to rule you, don't let them fool you, 'cause the choice is yours. One Lord. Gods and lovers, want it all. Give them all the love you got. Though they'll try to rule you, don't let them fool you, because the choice is yours. Because the choice is yours. Gods and lovers, because the choice is yours. Because the choice is yours. Choice is yours.
I'll keep playing it a bit so you can hear the ending, which we faded out. It all gets a bit random here. Wasn't edited. Just people having fun. There's a bit of Fernando talking there as well on the acoustic track. So yeah, that's the song. That's the mix breakdown. I hope everyone enjoyed that. I'm just looking at a couple of comments here. I'm glad you're delighted. I'm glad you enjoyed the stream. So yeah, thanks. Please, back to here. Please subscribe if you're watching this on Facebook. Please like the page and set notifications for when I go live, showing mixes and doing mixes and whatever. And if you're watching on YouTube, then please subscribe. And if you're watching anywhere else, then look up my website, daviddominy.com, or look up the High Pass Show page on Facebook and like and all of that. So thank you for watching. See you next time.